Bass is with us, China expert, China scholar. Kyle, what should we do, especially on a state-by-state basis right now, to prevent the incursion of the Chinese Communist Party into our way of life, whether it be buying farmland or hacking into our grid? You did something in Texas that I think can be scaled across the country.
Yeah, and Charlie, it's a great question. And it's important to note that what Texas did with the Lone Star Infrastructure Protection Act that we helped a lot with, what we were trying to do is stop malign actors as kind of defined by the annual threat assessment by the Director of National Intelligence from acquiring, from basically interfacing directly with what we deem to be critical infrastructure. So that is the power grid, the water treatment, the nuclear facilities, the telco facilities. But what we didn't do, what we were unable to do with that bill, is simply stop outright malign foreign actors from acquiring land, whether it be farmland or land near our critical infrastructure. Imagine if we tried to acquire, several hundred acres of land next to China's largest nuclear power plant, or next to their largest military base, their largest military training base for their pilots. That will never happen. And yet we, in our open society, are constantly infiltrated by these actors that create U.S. companies, fund them with U.S. dollars, and buy them with malign intentions. And in this case, yes, there's 200 square miles of Texas was bought just 25, 30 miles from our largest Air Force training base and next to our border. And they've filed applications to build 700-foot tall windmills. So imagine a Washington monument with blades on it and over-the-top mapping that allows them to map everything over the horizon with precision. So they'll be able to map every single airplane, or maybe not airplane, that flies by there on our base. And it's all under the auspices of, hey, they can own land just like anyone else. We must have a revamp.
Yeah, I mean,
this is, you said it's states. States could do it, but our federal government needs to revamp CFIUS and say foreign ownership, yes, of lands near anything strategic or critical is simply off base. It's not going to happen.
But Kyle, the reason I said states is we had a senator on this program last week. We had a good conversation. We disagreed, but we had clarity. Senator from North Dakota, Senator Kramer, and he agreed that this was a problem. But I couldn't get him to just say bluntly that the Chinese Communist Party should not be able to own land in America. I just think it should be that simple. Now, that's probably going to be too much for, the Washington, D.C. to stomach. That's kind of my starting point. But how about within 100 square miles of, I don't know, Grand Forks Air Force Base, right?
I don't even think 100 miles is enough, Charlie. I mean, the technology is going to get better and better and better. Why should we allow them to own anything within anywhere near these bases?
Well,
and
so yeah,
you don't have to define. You and I both spend a lot of time focused on the Chinese Communist Party, but every year the Director of National Intelligence issues a report, and the report is, you can Google this. It is basically the threats against U.S. national security, and in there, DNI names the malign actors that we're most concerned about. And it's interesting, even though with Russia's invasion of Ukraine, China's still the number one threat. It's China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea. So you could define it as the malign actors in the DNI threat assessment reports over the last 10 years, right? You could define it that way and really write the bill properly. You don't want to just single out one malign actor. You want to catch them all. And someone's got to sponsor a bill like this and get it through. The problem is the Chinese Communist Party has huge amounts of lobbying money in the U.S. Congress.
That's right.